What's up, guys? Anthony here with Special Analysis. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to talk about this profit pack opportunity, and I'm going to go a little deeper on this one because if I don't, for one, I'm going to get some backlash from a few of you because you're going to overthink this. But on the second side of it, I want to actually indulge in how the daily live trade room fits nicely into the profit pack. So I shot a video just a little while ago. You can go back on YouTube or somewhere in the thread of all my videos, and you'll see it for yourself. So this profit pack entry, while it was clean and crisp and to the point, did transpire during the opening range. What is the opening range? For those of you who don't know, that is the price action for the first 15 minutes of the market, meaning from 9:30 to 9:45. That area typically alludes to a period of indecision. There's a lot of volatility. We avoid it, and then we try to use that area essentially for the balance of the day. Well, this triggered in that area. I didn't dislike it simply because if I go to the higher brick speed, the extreme volatility or the conservative brick speed, as I call it, this was absolutely favoring what would be considered the higher time frame approach, which is my personal approach using the profit pack. Many people ask, so I'm happy to tell you what I personally do. But say you said, listen, I'm going to be that ultra conservative trader like Anthony is. I'm not going to enter the market here in the opening range. Well, look what happened. We had an impulse, support, correction, impulse through support. So what was once support here became resistance here, ultimately falling outside, particularly even this prior low here, or these ascending lows, if you would, was the second opportunity to nail the balance of this move. Now, yes, it went 195 ticks from the trigger in the opening range all the way to the bottom. Yes. Would you have lost some of that? Yes. Would you have layered in confirmation of the higher brick speed, the opening range, the entry on the technical target? Yeah. Listen, you would have been checking like 4 super significant boxes. And if you're like me, that you're only going to risk your money when there is like legit a reason to be in the market, like it's got to smack you in the mouth and tell you, hey, you're stupid not to do this. This was it, guys. Again, if you didn't take that first entry, I wouldn't have taken it either. But the retest on the technical chart, the retest on the profit pack chart, really just provided a fantastic opportunity to catch that sell-off there in the NASDAQ and the S&P throughout the central part of the day. Now, I also have some descending green lines here. And I want to talk about this because a lot of people have a hard time grasping advancing a stop. Most people advance it too tightly, and in doing that, they get stopped out, and they miss this big run here. So I'm going to tell you how I do it. Again, you could take it with a grain of salt. Do what you please with it. I've only been doing this for a dozen years. I've only been instructing for the past 3 or 4 years. I've helped many traders overcome their hurdles. So again, I'll tell you how I do it. Here, let's just say this is a hypothetical. I know I wouldn't have entered here, but say we blindly just took this entry, even though it was in the opening range. Okay. Stop goes 1 tick, pip, or penny above the trigger candle. Impulse, correction, impulse. As soon as I had a bar close below this prior low right here, I'm going to take my stop and go put it right there. Impulse, correction, impulse. As soon as I had a bar here close below this low, I'm going to take my stop from here and I'm going to put it right there. Impulse, correction, impulse. As soon as I close below this low in this bar, I'm going to take my stop and I'm going to drag it down here. Now, ultimately, we had another big impulse. We placed a bottom. We corrected, but we never impulsed below this low. So we ran out of steam. But you had many, many opportunities to take a whole bunch of profit. If you're a daily live trade room member, you have access to my analyzed chart and the book map from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Listen, that alone, the analysis I provide, and that service alone, without me even speaking a word, is worth $1,000 a month, conservatively. Conservatively, $1,000 a month. Just to view my screen, analyzed and prepared for you. Now, pair my interpretation, pair my 3 hours live time a day, pair the questions I answer all day long. I mean, guys, the value that you're getting is something you are not going to get anywhere else. Am I going to do it for free? No. Am I going to do it for you? No. Am I here willing to help you, give you my interpretation of the technicals, interpretation of the profit pack, interpretation of the order flow, interpretation of the opening range, interpretation of news releases and volatility periods, the interpretation of multiple time frames. Guys, the bang for your buck is unlike anything else out there. I'm not just saying that because I'm the one providing it. I just know how hard and long it took to get to where I am. And the reason most traders never get there is because you have to be slightly obsessed in order to achieve it. My goal was freedom, and that freedom comes from being able to create an income on my own terms, not having to rely on anybody else. The reason I coach folks, the reason I help them with software and their techniques and provide the analysis is because I'm giving them a chance to cut that 12 plus year learning curve down to a couple years, maybe even less. It seems like the folks that come in and they're dedicated and they hang out with me in a little bit, they catch on pretty quickly. Is it overnight? No. Is it in 2 or 3 days? No. It's going to take a few weeks to get acclimated. It's going to take a few months to get consistent. And listen, you got to look at the long game. A society has trained people to want to get rich quick, overnight. There's all these gimmicks and all this bullshit online and all this shit on YouTube and social media. Flick a switch and you'll be a millionaire. It doesn't work that way. Okay? It doesn't work that way. I'll be the first to tell you. But if you're willing to be dedicated, if you're willing to study the skill set, if you're willing to put the time and effort in, I'm willing to help you. I'm not going to do it for you. I can't legally tell you how much to risk or when or where to enter, or when or where to exit, but I can interpret the market for you so that as your skill set builds, you can ultimately become a consistent, hopefully profitable trader. The profitability comes from the consistency. The folks that lose money are the folks that are wishy-washy and don't have any discipline. I have folks laugh at me, when I tell them I have notes all over my desk. I have screenshots of what a good trade looks like. Why? Because if I'm looking at an opportunity and it doesn't look like that, I'm not taking the trade. Following those rules is what affords me the ability to provide for myself and to help others do the same for themselves. So, if you want that consistency, if you want that discipline, if you want to learn a skill set, if you want access to the profit pack to make this process very, very easy for you, this is much cleaner than a technical chart. I have it all here for you. You can literally be up and running in about 24 hours time. You may need some additional setup on your end. That's something that you're going to need to fulfill, but I can certainly gather you the things you need and get you access to the live trade room so you can start the process of getting to be where you want to be. There's a link here on the screen. There's a link below. Click it, learn more. Let me know if you want to get started. And, we can join this venture together and profit together and trade together. So Choice is ultimately yours. See you soon.